Good afternoon, everyone. I want to talk a little bit about a subject that's been bothering me a lot lately, and it's all the lying in the media and social media all over the world. It's become an epidemic of lies, manipulation, half-truths. It's very hard to really live life when you don't trust any of this stuff. At one time, we could listen to the news and say, okay, yeah, it was pretty accurate. Nowadays, it's like people are divided right down the middle. It's interesting because if the mainstream media is listened to by people on a regular basis, they're going to have a completely different view than people that don't watch mainstream media. And they're absolutely sure that they know exactly that this is the truth and everything else and blah, 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 blah. So then you have this attack scenario where somebody disagrees with you, everybody jumps all over them thinking they know the truth. But ultimately, nobody knows the truth unless you're actually there watching the event. And even then, you can have different opinions based on what you think is actually being said, or if you're paying attention, or if you're looking left when something was happened to the right. Like, there is so many things that are going on that just needs to rebalance itself, that needs to stop, that it has to come into balance. Things are so far out of control. You watch the news and it's full of lies, but people will believe the lies wholeheartedly. And you're like, what the hell? This is lies. But then people say that, no, it's not lies, it's the truth. So it's like, and some people are so adamant that the lies are the truth that they will ridicule, destroy, manipulate anyone to get their opinion heard, even though it's completely wrong. So I would say to everybody out there that is willing to listen to this video, to say to yourself, what I'm listening to on TV, on the news, on social media, on the internet, is it true? If you weren't there watching it happen, how do you know it's the truth? How do you know? Then you go back in history. All our history that we hear about, is it true? Well, I don't know. When you see what's happening right now in the world, how could you possibly believe that the history is the truth? How much of history has been rewritten? How much history has been manipulated into a specific agenda or a specific idea? How many times, just to give an example, which they know they did in many times in Egyptian history, every time there was a new pharaoh, the other pharaoh would try to wipe out the existence of the other one prior to him or her. So how do you know if any of it's real? How do we know what's truth and what isn't? How do we know that the Bible is the truth? Well, they say that blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, you could state that, but is it? Things can be omitted to completely change the narrative. Like a perfect example is a video that was posted about Elon Musk and his son. And it was posted as the truth. Well, it was the truth, but the difference is if you watched a different angle, you see that it was completely fabricated and manipulated to make it seem like it was much worse than it really was. You don't have to like Elon Musk. But how much of you hear nowadays is the truth about him? How much is manipulated? How much is a specific agenda being forced down your throat? I like the truth. I want to hear the truth. But I'm really concerned that the world is going down a path of lies and manipulation as a norm. And if you think the media out there is telling you the truth all the time, you need to reevaluate that. You really do. You need to go into your heart, wrap your heart around the energy of what you're hearing, and say, does this seem right to you? Or is there something off about this? Why is it that you're only hearing blurbs of things instead of the whole thing? So I would recommend that if you hear something about someone, you might want to find the original, actual a meeting or the podcast or wherever it came from. Watch the whole thing. Then come in forward with an opinion. Because if you just simply react to a small portion of something, then you've just been manipulated. Because if you listen to the beginning and the end of it, it's a completely different meaning. It's like you could take a sentence out of the Bible and say, this is factual. It came right out of the Bible. It's got to be the truth. Well, if you read the whole paragraph, though, it changes the whole meaning of the sentence. This is what's happening time and time and time again. They're taking a blurb out of context and throwing it out there as a truth. Come on. This is why videos are dangerous. Because you could watch a video, you could have a situation where you have a guy that's defending himself, and that 1 second he's like raging mad and ready to retaliate, and now he's the bad guy, even though that guy just did something horrific a few seconds prior. But you didn't see that part, did you? You just seen a part of that man looking and acting crazy. But in the meantime, he was in the right. So how do we find the truth? And I think it's so bloody important right now. I think it's one of the most important things to speak the truth. And when I do my journeys, I say it as it is. I say it as I see it. I say it as I feel it. And not very many people, I should say, very few people actually do that. They like to manipulate or basically re-say something somebody else had said or experienced, even though they don't know where the original thing came from, and it's not coming from the person that actually experienced it. So it's like, so you're telling me that you're assuming that this secondary person is telling you the truth. Well, what happens if they are manipulating the truth? Now you're regurgitating manipulation of the truth, and it gets completely out of control. I would challenge everybody out there to try to speak the truth as much as possible. I did a journey into God the other day about this specific subject. And he told me one of the most important things we can do as a human being is to speak the truth. Your personal truth, because of your understanding of what the truth is. But it's also, if you feel like there's something off, you need to search for the truth. You need to, he showed me an actual tactic that you can do. Is when you're in an energy, for instance, doing journeys, it's easy, you're in an energy and you could take your heart energy and wrap it around the actual whole environment, and it will basically reveal the truth. So if it's an illusion, the illusion will go away and you'll see the actual truth standing in front of you. You can do the same thing with human beings. You could wrap your energy around that lie or manipulation or whatever you think it is, the statement, and actually allow that energy from your heart to wrap around it. And it's not just your heart. He said all your chakras have to be connected to your heart. So you visualize all the chakras activating and going through your heart energy. And you wrap that energy around whatever you're trying to find the truth about. And it will reveal the truth. And the more you do it, the better you will get at it. It's one of those things you need to practice. And practice makes perfect, right? And you need to keep trying and trying and trying, because it's super important that the truth is actually brought forward. So if you do a journey, you say it as it is. You don't say it how you think people want to hear it, because that's not the truth. And sometimes things you see are meant to be a specific way. So if you change and alter that, you're completely altering the energy and the meaning behind what is meant to be shared. It's super important that you actually speak the truth. And he says that's one of the most important things you can do as a human being, is to speak the truth. Because it is so destructive when everybody starts lying and manipulating, like now on this earth. It's probably one of the worst in history because of all the internet, at least in our known history. Because of the internet, there's so much misinformation, so many lies, so many people have no idea what they're talking about because they're attacking somebody just because they've seen a statement, but they don't even know if that statement came from the person that actually seen it. It could have came from somebody else that's assuming that it's the truth. Posting it and saying, this is the truth. Well, and then everybody freaks out about it. But it was a lie from the beginning. So you're freaking out about a lie, thinking it's the truth. And this is what the world is turning into. And it's getting so bloody destructive. It's dividing people in half. And then things will come to a head and things will fall apart. And people will start, well, you could say a revolution can start over it. A war. I challenge people to really try to find the truth before you attack someone. You should never attack people for a different understanding and belief system anyway. But if you feel like you must, then you bloody well should make sure that this thing that you're arguing about is the truth before you argue about it. People will post up things on there knowing it's not the truth to get people going so they get more money from clicks and comments. It's like they purposely lie in order to get you riled up. And we fall for it time and time and time again. Look how many times you read the comments on a statement, then you look into it and the statement's completely false. How many pictures are posted on there that are completely false, fake? It's funny. I have a sore spot with Northern Lights because I've been shooting Northern Lights for a very long time. And I know what they look like. I experienced them. I know what they look like when they're photographed, and almost in every aspect possible over the years. I've been pretty lucky. Seen some extraordinary things. And then you just put something that's obviously fake and everybody's goo-goo gaga all over it. Drives me nuts. It's so obviously it's fake, but people out there don't know what Northern Lights look like. So is it their fault? Or they just have no idea? So educate yourself. But let's get real. It's getting harder and harder to do that, isn't it? Because you go to search for the truth, and the truth it comes out and it's all mixed up, and you still have no idea what's real anymore. So a fake picture of Northern Lights, for one example, you get people will post perfectly fake pictures that AI generated or whatever you want, whatever they're doing to create them. It's so obviously unreal, but people will say it how amazing it is, knowing that, but it's so obviously fake because I seen them for myself. I photographed them for myself, so I'm an expert on it. But somebody that isn't falls for it, thinks it's real, thinks that's what Northern Lights actually look like. And they can be pretty spectacular. I'm telling you, not very common when you see the spectacular ones, but when they are, man, you'll never forget them. But that's why it bothers me so much when people actually manipulate the truth. It's an example of how people can be manipulated, though, and not understanding something. Somebody posts something, they think it's real, and it's fake. I could go on and on and on about this for a long time. It's a really, 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 really huge issue. And when I went to God, He specifically told me that it's one of the most important things that we do as a human being is speak the truth. Because when we don't, it can be extremely destructive. Whole worlds can collapse. Whole continents, whole countries can collapse from lies. And man, there's a lot of them now, isn't there? It's alarming. So I'm going to go do a quick journey. Well, I don't know, quick. I'll do a journey I never know how long the bloody going to be, into, I want to see what God says about the actual lies in the world today, and see what he says. One of the interesting parts is when I went to God last time, I went to a specific place and God came to me. But I first seen an angel and was pulsating this extraordinary energy out from itself. And that angel could be anything it wanted to be. But when the true form came, it was a central eye with thousands of eyes. And they vibrated and they could see everything inside yourself. So you have to allow yourself to be open. You open yourself up. I have nothing to hide. You can't hide it anyway. But you have to, because they can see right into your smallest speck. Anything. They can see everything about you. Past, present, future. It's pretty creepy to feel it, because you know that they actually can see everything. So then you open yourself up and don't hide. And after that, then God appeared. But if I tried to manipulate and tell the truth, he probably wouldn't have. Why would he? He doesn't want to be around liars and manipulators. But that angel was pretty extraordinary, and it was very vast, and it wrapped its whole, you could say, its wings. It didn't really, it was like wings with thousands of eyes. It was extraordinarily big. Wraps itself, a gateway opens up through the angel and down, and God walked down the steps towards me into an open field. It was very peaceful, very extraordinary, and it reverberates inside yourself for quite a while afterwards. It was quite the feeling. I'm going to connect on to God and see what he has to say about the subject. There's a really deep rumbling I'm hearing within the earth. And I see water coming up from the earth, and like a huge geyser that bursts through the ground. The ground was solid, but now the thing just bursts right through the ground. And it's just filling everything with water. The ground is saturated with water and steam. And I'm just experiencing this right now. And I say to God, if I stand here, I'm going to get burned. It's so hot that it's actually going to scorch me, so I can't stay here. But then I know I'm a spirit, so obviously, as a physical human being, this would be something that would be very difficult to stay. But because I'm a spirit, I say I need to stay. But the truth is, you don't want to stay in this. You have to move away from it. So I move away from this scene. And I see these geysers all over the world, and people are standing being scalded and burned. And they get used to it. And they're always irritated because they're always getting burned. But they get more and more agitated, and they're still being burned. And it's like they aren't aware that they're standing in this liquid fire, you could say, because it's so hot. And I see this whole scene change as a lava, and people are getting burned and more burnt. Until they're ash. And then the fire goes back within the earth. The water cleanses everything and then goes back into the earth. And people are standing there, so what just happened? sometimes there has to be absolute insanity that brings forward the boiling fire, then the lava, then the cleansing, and then silence. This is a message that he wanted me to share immediately with everyone. And it is metaphoric, but it's about lies and how they can simply be just water. The water gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And then it starts to burn, becomes uncomfortable. You have to step away from that, but if you don't, it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter, it becomes lava, and then you turn to ash. Then you're dead, and life is over. It's how destructive it is. It will destroy you almost completely. But then there's a time, that energy will be again brought back into the earth. And this is what's happening right now, he's saying, is that things have to get so crazy that people have to really, really understand that everything is lies, everything's manipulation. Separate yourself from the lies and manipulation, and then you will be able to think clearly. Otherwise, you'll be burnt in the lies. You'll be transformed into something. You'll become a miserable person. But the ones that step out of the flames and step out of the boiling water are able to see things more clearly. So they're able to see why the ones that are burning cannot. They just know they're getting more and more and more agitated and more angry, but they don't understand why. And you cannot explain this to them. They have to learn themselves that they're standing in fire. In order to think clearly, they have to separate themselves from it. They have to be the ones to separate themselves. You can't force them to change. They have to learn to change within themselves. And when things get this loud and this ridiculous, it will break. And then people will kind of be reset in a way that they can finally breathe again. All that, instead of watching people suffer, people will start to wake up to the reality, start to wake up to the truth. When that happens, people can breathe again. Instead of boiling lava and fire and steam, they're able to stand in an open field and breathe and feel the warmth of the sun, not the hotness of the sun, but the warmth of the sun or the light breeze, say about 20 degrees, 70 Fahrenheit. And be at peace. When you allow yourself to be in energy like that and just absorb the wonderful energy of a beautiful day in an open field, sitting on a bench, laying on the grass, looking up at the stars or looking up at the clouds, walking hand in hand with a loved one, playing with a child, and just absorbing that energy inside your heart. It will guide you through your life. When you see something that you know is wrong, speak up. Not in a destructive way, in an educated and smart way. If you scream, it'll backfire. Everything that you're going to say after that will be convoluted. So speak clearly, Speak the truth. Don't try to hurt people, try to help people, but ultimately people have to help themselves. You know what the truth is inside your heart. Don't be fooled. When you see something, a clip, look at the full clip. Find the full clip. If you can't, just toss it away as hearsay and lies. Oh, there's a big pushback saying, well, I can't watch long videos. I can't watch this. Then don't watch them at all then. Put the phone away. Shut off the internet. Listen to the silence. Go for a walk on a beautiful summer's day. You have to look at things fully in order to know whether or not there's a truth. If you don't want to do that, then don't watch it at all. If you don't want to find the truth about something, then don't be angry about it. Don't believe it. If it's a clip, a couple of words, it's most likely it's done that way in order to make someone look bad. Remember that. And it is being used over and over and over again. One mistake over and over and over again. And when that happens, you have to ask yourself why. Why is that one tiny little incident taken and spread all over the news like wildfire? Because it's generally a lie. If you took the whole incident and watched it from the beginning to end, you'll start to see things quite a bit different. And you have to pay attention to the details. If people are very agitated with things that you might not even have understood. So when somebody gets angry and upset, why did they get angry and upset? Not just that much, oh, that person's a dick because they did this, and this. Why did they do that though? Look at what is being said to them and maybe ask yourself why. A lot of times when you do that, you'll start to see things differently. You'll see that the little tiny speck of information, and by stating that, change the whole narrative after that. Because once you get somebody angry, they'll say stupid things. Every friggin' time. And that's me that said that. Because that is so true. Every time. You can set somebody off and they're like, ting, 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 ting. Now I could keep poking. And then the person gets really angry and upset, says a bunch of stuff they didn't mean, and now feels terrible afterwards. And another person can take that, spread it all over the internet. This is how this person really is. In the meantime, that person could have done 1,000 things, 1,000 amazing things. And that one incident could shut them up forever. But they did 1,000 things that were extraordinary and you didn't hear about any of them. In that one instant, you jumped on the bandwagon and shut that person up. You must be proud of yourself. See the problem with jumping on the bandwagon without truly understanding both sides of it. I always say in the past, if it's like, there's so many things that are happening in the world. There's always two sides to every story. If you're only listening to one side, then you're uneducated. And I should say, a better term is you're uninformed. You have to hear both sides. Because there's always truth on both sides. You will start to discover things in a totally different way when you do that. The subject could go on for a long time, he's telling me. And ultimately, before you attack someone, before you assume anything, study it. Find out what the truth is. And all you can do is do your best. But you'll start to discover by saying negative things about somebody when you weren't actually there watching it happen is probably not very good way of living your life. You could sit there and get angry and frustrated and crazy about something that is a lie. I keep saying that because it happens time and time and time again. If you're not there watching the thing happen, then don't say anything at all, because you're just taking somebody else's word for it. And that's the message. Thank you very much, everyone. And if you wish to do a journey with me one-on-one, you can go to almondrossawakening.com. And you could also, if you're interested in Aurora decks, then you could go to Amazon.com, and there'll be a link in the bio to that Amazon page to buy my Oracle deck. We greatly appreciate it. I put a lot of work into it, and it is a lot larger than you think when it comes to the size of everything. Please be good to each other. And speak the truth whenever you can. Little white lies don't count. It's the big ones that matter. And it's also a consistent thing. When you do what I do, you speak your personal truth. Don't manipulate it because you think it has to be that way. You say what is being given to you. And that is the truth. You might not like it. You don't even have to agree with it. But that is the truth. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.